I think it finally worked.
Did I go sideways?
No, that's perfect. Look at that. We can see your whole studio.
Yeah. How you doing, Carrie?
I'm good, Beau. How are you?
Doing pretty good. So yeah, working is key with this.
I am so happy to see you so that I don't have to sit here and talk to myself any longer.
I know it's tough.
What a big difference. I'm like, okay, how do I fill the time? And why do people want to sit here and watch me in my office for a half hour?
Yeah, we're getting through it.
Yeah. How are you? What's new?
Oh, doing pretty good.
Yeah,
just staying busy with planning projects for the year. When the weather starts to warm up, that's when I try and get busy. And
that makes sense.
yeah,
Why don't you? So I kind of gave an introduction, but I will. Let's do this formally. Let's give some introductions just in case.
Oh, sure.
So my name is Carrie. I am the operations coordinator here at the Artisan Center. I'm actually on site today. An operations coordinator means that I schedule classes and programming and events like this and other fun things that we get to do to support artists in the area. And I have been in this role for just over a year. And I think I said earlier, it's been a very interesting year to come back to this job. So looking forward to the future, looking forward to when we can do this back in person and have artists here with us and have our audience here with us. But other than that, the one thing I want to tell everybody is keep putting those comments in. I will watch them. And I've got a good long list of questions I want to know about Beau, but if you have questions, put them in the chat for me so I can ask them. And I'm going to turn it over to you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Beau Thomas. I am a Green Bay native. I'm an artist in town, and I've actually been running my business as a mural artist for, 7 years now.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it's been a while. Luckily, I've had a lot of support from the community, and I've been able to tackle a lot of projects. I think I'm near 170 murals in my career, so I've been staying busy in Little Green Bay. So
that's amazing. I had no clue. That's one of the questions down here is how many are here? How many murals are around this area? So I just wrote down. So how did you get started making murals? How did this happen? How did this come together?
Yeah, my story kind of starts through skateboarding. I think I was 10 years old for Christmas, getting a skateboard under the Christmas tree. That kind of brought me into this world of exploring the city for skate spots, wearing the clothes, looking at magazines, looking at board graphics. So it's a really kind of artistic sport, if you will, that you kind of have to come face to face with all these graphics. And at the skate park, I saw graffiti on the walls. I had guys in town I looked up to. Matty B was a big one. He worked at the skate shop. He was producing artwork and making videos. So I just kind of discovered graffiti through skateboarding, and later kind of getting in trouble with graffiti. That's how I found my path doing art legitly and professionally with murals. So without that skateboard under the Christmas tree, we wouldn't be here.
That's so cool. I did figure out I can share the pictures you gave me. So if there's any of them you want to see specifically, please, I can just pop any of them up that you want to look at.
Yeah, actually one of my first gigs, pretty soon after I, started drawing graffiti, someone asked me, can you paint this certain thing for me? This was a float for one of the park parades back in like 2005. So kind of the fake it till you make it. I said sure, and went for it. So there's one of my first almost commissioned pieces with no budget.
That's so cool. I loved seeing this. And I was looking through all the photos and kind of saving them so I could have a slideshow here. And I did find the one where you got in trouble.
Oh, yep.
Do you want me to share that one?
Sure, yeah. You're welcome to.
You guys, I was looking through photos that he sent me today, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is this?
Yeah. So yeah, that was my second court case, maybe 20 or 21 years old, in court for train graffiti. Luckily, it was a pretty light sentence of just a few $1,000 in fines, and I kind of learned my lesson that way. I was lucky not to see the inside of a jail cell, but that court case being a low point was kind of where I turned my skill into a business and stopped doing illegal work and tried to turn it into a paycheck.
That's amazing. And, I think that's a really interesting story, that there's something that is creative and that you love to do, but it can kind of get you in some trouble. And then you can turn around and then look, you're painting like an official Green Bay mural.
Definitely, yeah. It's the same thing of putting paint on a surface, and
Yep.
the only difference is permission.
Exactly. I think that's so cool. So you went to UWGB, right?
I did about 6.5 years to get my degree in painting and graphic design.
Very cool. That's what I thought. So you did get an official arts degree, which is kind of cool, especially for like a graffiti artist. I don't know if that's always common to like a formal education.
Yeah, kind of a rare thing. Graffiti artists tend to become graphic designers, tattooers, or mural artists. So
for sure.
Way there, I found my way.
And so that was kind of the transition, huh? It was graffiti, and that's what you just like to work large?
Yeah, definitely. I was actually in a different major first in college, painting trains at night and going to school in the day to study computer science, but that wasn't really my passion. So I ended up skipping that class a lot and just failing out of some classes. So luckily I had a few art professors that saw me and my work and kind of nudged me into signing up for a major. And yeah, without that guidance, I don't think I'd be here either.
Hey, I say the same thing, actually. I didn't start off on this path until a couple of those art professors had a similar conversation with myself. So
yeah.
I love that. There's some good people out there. Okay, what I think we really want to know, and I know Jan put it in the comments earlier, is how in the world do you work so large? How in the world do you transition a sketch into something so big? And do you plan it? Do you use a projector?
Yeah, that's always the first hurdle is how do I get my drawing onto the wall? And there's a couple ways to do that. Like on this wall here, there's actually a cinder block grid that makes up that wall. So that's what I use to kind of map out everything. Looking at my sheet of paper where I have a miniature grid of the wall, and I just have to follow my lines like those math class grids and you wondered when was I ever going to use this? All the slope formulas. So I ended up using it on brick walls.
That's really cool.
Yeah, sometimes you can freehand it if you're skilled enough. You can use stencils to get your image up on the wall. And you can also use a projector if you got some money to invest in one. So
yeah, I've seen a couple of mural artists where they do either projectors or they grid it out, but I didn't even think to use the bricks or the cinder blocks as a already kind of built-in grid.
Yeah, it's just kind of hiding in plain sight. And I've seen a cool new trend lately of doing, I'll call it an organic grid, where you just kind of make a bunch of wild shapes on the wall. And then you'll go home that night and lay your image over the shapes you drew. So it doesn't have to be that perfect rectilinear grid. It can just be kind of, this line has to meet that triangle, and then I got to get the curve up to that circle. And yeah, there's some fun new ways to get the image up on the wall.
We must watch similar videos, because I saw one recently where a couple of gals were doing that, and they were drawing a bunch of stars and hearts all over a wall.
Yeah, that's great at first.
Yeah, I was sitting here talking to Kelly Bresnahan about it. He's the guy who kind of runs our studios here. So we always kind of talk about art and logistics, and he's got a good mind for building things. And I said, I saw this video where these gals put these stars all over a wall, and then they figured out how to map their mural out so that they wouldn't have to lay out a real detailed grid. And she said it saved her so much time.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yep.
Yeah. How long does it take to do something huge? Let me put one back up.
Yeah, I love a project that can be wrapped up in even one day or a week, but I've had projects that run for weeks or months, and they tend to be less money making and more of, I got to get this right and make sure it's perfect. So yeah, I've been in talks for a few murals over years and years, so even the planning side can take forever, but
wow,
it feels so good to be done and walk away from one.
Jan dropped a question in here. She said, your comments are stunning and rely on color and perspective to make an impact. What other skills do you rely on to make impactful pieces of art?
Oh yeah, so I definitely love saturated colors, bright colors. I love working with text and lettering. I think that comes from my roots in graffiti art. I always consider, if I'm doing an outdoor mural, the kind of message I want to communicate and the whole wide range of your audience. Are kids going to see this? How are they going to feel? Older people, men, women. So you kind of got to consider all this in the design. Sometimes like this one, the Ghost Players mural off the Field of Dreams movie, they had just a photo that they took during the filming of that, and they just wanted that exactly painted up on the wall, and I had to make that happen. So
very cool. So you work on like very specific requests and like very broad requests.
yeah, I like to kind of celebrate things, do positive murals. I don't think I've painted anything too dark on a public scale yet. So yeah, mural celebrating Green Bay, enjoy the ride, dream. I think, we're a city with limited murals even at this point. So those first ones are going to be important in convincing people that, art on a big scale is okay and it's not scary. So I think that's why I've kind of leaned towards those positive, almost generic messages. But yeah, you go to a place like Miami and you'll see some wild stuff on the walls, and it's a lot more diverse in the imagery.
For sure. I'm heading to Asheville, North Carolina in a couple of weeks, and they're known for their murals too. And I think the last time I was there, I kept telling my husband, like, we have to get out of the car and take pictures. It's so cool. Yep. They're everywhere.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to do as a tourist. It's free, it's exercise, and you really get to explore the city on the street level. So
yep.
It's a great activity for traveling.
It is, and it's so interesting. And you brought up a really good point. Like, you really do have to consider your audience and the general public and who's going to see that. And that's not always the case with a lot of art forms. I don't think about that when I go and like paint something. I don't think about the general public and how they're going to react to it. So that's something I hadn't even considered with murals as an artist.
The kind of the graphic design mindset of I'm serving a client, I'm serving a purpose. It's not about me and the art. It's about, in some case, selling something or advertising. So
right.
You kind of got to surrender your own hopes and dreams somewhat and just get the project for what the project is.
Yeah, it's a little bit more on the business end of things, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So there's even an art form in that.
Yep.
Negotiations and
Oh, Jan put another good question in here. What is your dream mural to do, and where would it be?
Oh, yeah, as a Green Bay kid, I've always wanted to paint at Lambeau Field. I think they've got ample wall space inside, so I luckily got to do a project where the Packers Charity Foundation was involved at the East High School City Stadium. So they helped fund a mural that kind of showed some Packers history and celebrated where the school's at now with sports and music. So yeah, hopefully one day I'll paint inside that historic place.
Yeah, if anybody's watching or if anybody watches this after it's recorded, you let us know. We can hook that up. That would be very cool.
Definitely, yeah.
I saw that you just won an Addy Award for this one. Let me put it up on the screen.
Yeah, that was really special. That's underneath the Mason Street Bridge on Monroe. I've been looking at that wall for years and years, and the Aspen Neighborhood Association put out a call for art, I think back in summer last year, and I was lucky enough to get picked for that. So
that's so cool. I remember seeing it for the first time. I didn't really know where it was. I had seen pictures online, and I was driving, and I was like, oh my God, there it is.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty big if you see it in person.
For sure, it's beautiful. Are there any other awards you've won? Anything else noteworthy?
Maybe in 2018, I won the Spirit of Old Main Street Award, just for a couple murals I did on Main, which I really appreciated that. And I think in 2015, I won a student Addy. So.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Trophies always make you feel good.
They sure do, and they're nice to come through after you've put a lot of work and effort into things.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of isolated work I do. I work alone most of the time, and you don't always get to see the reactions. So when people notice you, and people take note, it's nice.
Yeah, I remember when this one went up on Old Main, and I see this one all the time. It's right down the road from here, so if you guys are in our district, drive around, you'll find this one for sure. It pops right out, and I love seeing your sketch there above it. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think I sketched that in Madison, Wisconsin. I was waiting for my in-laws to shop at TJ Maxx, and I sat on a bench in the hallway thinking about a car-themed mural. I got that idea denied for a different location and made it work at Mako. So there's another example of failure turned into success.
For sure. And I noticed that your sketch isn't like super detailed. You know,
Yeah.
the words are there, but the background is not really. Do you kind of just go with the flow? Is that just kind of planned or not
I
planned?
adjusted the way I sketch nowadays. I'm not so concerned about making a perfect first draft. I think a lot of the magic happens on the wall itself. So just for saving time and being efficient, I like to just do black and white sketches, bring it into the computer if I can, and do some quick color there. But yeah, creating a system or a way of working quick for proposals and ideas has been really important. I've had projects where the sketch itself takes months and there's research involved. So the longer that takes, the less likely it is to actually get done and happen. So I've tried to bring the idea of a 1 hour estimate and design into my business. If I can kind of whip something up quicker, it's a lot more likely to happen.
That's very cool. That's good to know. What technology do you use to do your sketches?
Oh yeah, just a pencil, pen, Sharpie. I've got an iPhone where I'll take a picture of my sketch. I love Illustrator. Bring that in. I let the computer actually do a quick automatic rendering of it. Maybe it takes 30 seconds for it to kind of switch it to a line drawing in there. And then I can just add color pretty quickly with the paint bucket tool and then drag it over to Photoshop where I can kind of tweak it into a photo of the wall and kind of give it some perspective and show you what it would look like after it's done. So yeah, a little bit of analog, a little bit of digital, and
that's cool. That's a cool combination.
Yeah, a whole tool bag of techniques and yeah, styles and everything in between.
What kind of materials do you use on actual walls? What kind of paint and things are you using?
Yeah, a lot of house paint lately. I try and buy the best paint I can at Home Depot usually. It's worth it in the end if you can get another 5-10 years out of a mural. It's definitely worth a few more bucks for a gallon of paint. I like working with spray paint also. That's got some health effects, so I wonder about the future of that though and how long I'll be able to work with that substance. But yeah, house paint, spray paint, and yeah, usually a combination of both for every job.
Very cool. I see Sally asked, which of your murals was the most fun?
Ooh, it's, yeah, funny enough, it's the ones where I'm just doing what I want, where I don't even get paid. And that often happens at our indoor skate park where I get to show up at 10 o'clock at night and I'll roll a mural I did a couple months earlier and just paint whatever I want. Usually it's my graffiti nickname, but freedom is great. And having a space like that is such a playground. So I definitely love our indoor skate park, Chibasso.
That's awesome. I was looking through the pictures here. That you do some, it's loading, trying to time my talking with my computer. I saw that you did this one recently, and this has a tie to the skate park too, right?
Oh, yeah. That's actually the skate park's founder, Brian Schrader. Unfortunately, he passed away recently after a long battle with a brain tumor, but I luckily was able to paint that while he was alive and give it to him while he was alive. So yeah, very grateful that I was able to kind of give him his flowers when he was here. But
that's really cool. I've heard nothing but amazing things about that man and the things he's done for kind of the youth of this area. So it's very cool.
So it's almost, I mean, what a tough diagnosis. And, yeah, he kept going and stayed positive. So
yep, I know a lot of our students that I've talked to have had major impact by him. So it's cool that you are able to kind of commemorate people. And I don't think that when people see like a big, like word focused mural, that they realize that you can do things like portraits. I'm going to put another one up on the screen here. Multitasking with screen sharing and opening photos. I thought this one was really beautiful. You captured the emotion on his face beautifully.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah, he passed away, unfortunately, back in 2014, and I only finished that painting just, what is it, a month ago? Or weeks ago, but yeah, that was one I kind of left undone for years and years, and just kind of nice to have him in my studio space looking at me.
For sure. And I don't know if anybody can, if you guys can see it on here, but can you see that texture? That's one of those things that I don't know if everybody realizes when they see a painting or a mural, is that how many layers you must have on this thing and how much
Yeah,
time you must have in there.
yeah, I like to treat those backgrounds sometimes like a journal where I'm writing messages to him and words about him. So there's definitely a therapeutic aspect, and I get to get all my feelings out there that way.
For sure. I think that's really cool. And I love the tie of the kind of realistic portrait with the graffiti background. I think that's really striking.
Thank you.
I'm going to bring it back to business a little bit. And I know you were talking about kind of having like a 1 hour sketching and proposal. What other things do you do in your business? Are there other things you do to really run your business to make it more efficient, or are there things you enjoy doing with your business?
Yeah, I'm really interested in business and how I can become better at it. I've never taken a class on it, but I've had to kind of scrape together my own ideas and advice from podcasts and interviews and all sorts of stuff. So I think it probably starts with having a good, solid website. That's kind of like your storefront or your exhibit space in this era. People are going to check your website to kind of get to know you. So I think that's pretty important that artists still have that, even beyond their Facebook and Instagram pages. Another thing I'm doing lately is having my clients kind of prepare the information I need for them on the front end, instead of me having to kind of chase them down and meet with them and go after all this information myself. I just ask for a photo of the wall, measurements, and their idea. And yeah, it's kind of nice not to take meetings anymore in person. And I'm not sure how many projects fail in the planning phases, but it's such a time saver and a money saver to cut out that, the wasted meetings where nothing kind of comes of it.
Yeah, I think that's really smart of you, because you are the artist, you're already doing this amount of work, you're doing the sketching and the planning, and then you're doing kind of the even physical labor of painting and implementing the mural. You're doing that whole entire process. So yeah, it makes sense to kind of put that onus on the client. They should know what they want to see.
Yeah, definitely. And I found that people still want free estimates, so that's the concession, or the what I have to give up on the front end just to make a lot of jobs happen. But
for sure,
yeah, you'll have failures with a lot of jobs, and a lot of projects kind of fizzle and die out, but you just have to put yourself out there over and over and over again. And I failed 9 times just to make one thing work, so that's kind of the battle I deal with.
For sure. One thing, when I was kind of telling the crew around here a little bit about you, one of the things I was telling them was that you do these very cool little like model trains.
Oh yeah.
And so you kind of have this great diversified income streams. I don't know if that's too kind of crazy, but to have things that people can pick up and buy and be kind of a part of the artwork, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it's definitely a struggle to sell artwork in any area or market, but I found that people are more likely to spend $20 than $500, so you've got to make products that fit that. So I've been leaning into prints over the last year, and those model trains are a great way to kind of still be involved in train graffiti in a legit way. So yeah, think about your customer and what's in their pocket and what they have a need or even a capability to pay for.
For sure. And then I noticed that you recently started selling apparel. I think that's so cool because your logo is great.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, that's been a kind of a years-long battle in my head of I should do clothing, and yeah, finally making it happen. But that's a big complex issue in itself with screens and locations and sides on a shirt. So
for sure,
sizes too. But
yeah logistics.
Yeah, happy to have stuff like this. Makes me feel good.
I think it's cool. It gives the kind of the community a way to be a part of your murals and be kind of a part of everything you're doing. And I think that's awesome. People want to represent the things they like. And
yeah, definitely. Hopefully it commands respect too when you show up to a job site and your company name's on your hat and your jacket. So
for sure.
Being professional.
You know, when I was planning this, I did have a question from a group I'm a part of. Like, what are the big differences between planning for like a big outdoor mural versus like an indoor mural?
Um, I'd say probably scale at that point. What's the wall like? Does it need to be primed? Things that get big and tall are kind of dangerous too at a point. If you fall over 2 stories, you might not get up. So start to think about insurance and harnesses. I've also learned to become a bit of a weather nerd. So I'm looking at what's hours away, what kind of weather patterns are coming in. So yeah, there's some more challenges outside, but there's way more benefits just because of traffic and visibility.
Yeah, that's right. You have a lot of things to think about when you're working outdoors like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, even bird poop is my enemy, or people coming to do graffiti on a mural. You got to come back and fix it to let them know it's not cool. So
I would have never even thought of those things. That's so funny.
yeah.
Is there anything you do after you've painted it to kind of protect it from the elements?
I'm actually using great enough paint where it's not advised to add anything on top of it.
Cool.
But I try to keep an eye on these projects over the years, and if they need some retouching or if there's a spot that gets damaged, I like to jump on that and fix it up. But I think we're at maybe 25 or 50-year warranties with this paint sometimes, so they are promising a lot with their product these days.
That's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
What's the tallest you've done? You were talking about harnesses and insurance. What's the scariest one you've done?
Geez, that might even be still the Green Bay mural. That's 2 stories tall, so yeah, getting up to that height is a little nerve-wracking. Hopefully I'll be working in the Broadway district this year on a 3-story building, doing a nice welcome to Broadway kind of postcard style mural. And
Cool.
that should be my next biggest mural after the Green Bay mural.
Nice. I think I remember seeing a time lapse of a mural. Was it cheese? And it was up on like a what was that on? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think that was an old farm silo that got left on a property, and a cheese factory was built nearby, so they utilized that as a canvas. But yeah, that was another bit of an intense job with the wind and being up there with a harness, and had to buy a big sprayer to hit that up.
You must not be scared of heights then, huh?
I've told myself as a kid I was scared of heights, but I've had to kind of face that on every job, and I think it's diminishing for sure.
I don't know if I could do it. I have real trouble with heights.
Yeah.
Okay, I just have to check my questions. We've been kind of bouncing around and answering all of these, so I don't want to miss anything. Is there anything you won't do or will say no to?
Oh, yeah, great question. I think it's really important to have your limits and boundaries. So lately I've played with, or kind of had the idea in my head of no murals on grounds or ceilings or stairs. And that's just because of a kind of a back injury, neck injury I had when I was 21. But luckily enough, people haven't asked me to do that type of work too much. Don't like to paint in bathrooms either, so I'll say no bathroom murals. Not the cleanest place to paint.
Do you do a lot of private murals in people's homes and things?
Yeah, maybe a couple per year. And I tend not to share them just because of respect for their space. And, it's kind of a nice little secret for people to have.
Yeah. That's very cool. I hadn't even considered the kind of private mural in your house. That's awesome.
Yeah, actually got to paint someone's photo they took in New York City right on their garage door to remind them of their trip and their time in New York. So, yeah, some fun things can happen at the house.
That's so cool. What does a normal day look like for you? Are you sketching on things? Are you working on your own projects?
Unfortunately, lately it's been emails, staying fed and bathed, and I'm often just doing housework to procrastinate and avoid real work. But yeah, my schedule is all over the place. Sometimes I'm doing 2 murals in one day and just trying to do it all. So yeah, it's kind of chaotic, but it's fun.
I don't know if I have a picture of it. Maybe I do. The one you did out at UW Green Bay, I think that was the first one I ever saw that you did.
Okay. Was
How
it
did
the
that
outdoor
one come about? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was their 50th anniversary as a university, and they had a call out for the mural project, and I was only one of two people that applied, and lucky enough got the gig. And that was another long-term project where I think I was, yeah, still a full-time student at the time and kind of working on it at night, and it took about 8 months to do. They gave me a special basement studio where I could work on it, so maybe I took too long and kind of enjoyed the relaxed space of that. But yeah, got it up just in time. And yeah, that was really special to kind of leave the school with this mural right as I graduated, and yeah, kind of leave my mark.
That is very cool. You know, as I'm kind of looking back and looking at your photos and thinking about all the work you've done. Okay, you said about 170. I'm trying to think of how many I've seen and where I've seen them. Do you have more future plans? You mentioned Broadway. Do you have more coming up and anything else in the works?
I've actually got plans to do a Aaron Rodgers tribute mural in the next few weeks.
Oh, that's
this
exciting.
recent snowfall has maybe delayed that a bit. Yeah, I think he's left such an impact on the community. So one of the guys we should celebrate. But
For
yeah,
sure.
lately just knocking on doors and saying, here's my business card. I'm a painter. Can I paint your wall? And most of the time it doesn't work, but when you hear yes, it's such a great feeling.
Do you still apply for a lot of like calls for art?
Yeah, I try to. I'm always
Yeah.
considering right away, what's the budget? What's the deadline? And, you know, I've done a lot in town where I might want to start stepping back and letting other people, you know, have their chance. I'm actually interested in bringing some of my friends to town from around the Midwest and even beyond. I think it'd be pretty cool to sponsor, you know, national artists to come here and kind of add to our art scene and make it a little more dynamic and impressive. But
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's a great idea. Do you feel like you have a good balance? Do people like do you come to you? Do people call you and ask for commissions?
oh yeah, definitely. That's usually maybe 5-10 calls a month that end up in my email or voicemail. So I've definitely got to deal with them in a quick and responsive way. Sometimes I succeed at that, sometimes I don't. But yeah, aside from being an artist, you're a receptionist, you're, you know, all these other jobs, an accountant, looking at insurance stuff. So there's a lot to keep you busy when you manage all these clients. And I'm just a one-person business, so that's kind of my cross to bear, if you will.
And there are some things you enjoy more than others, right?
Yeah, definitely. Right away, like, yeah, another idea I'm playing with is trying to say no to every job right away. And if it's so good that I have to say yes, that's the work I want. So I'm often telling people right away, hey, thank you for the offer. I don't think this one's for me. Check out this artist, or maybe try this thing with vinyl, or, you know, some other solution. So that's a great way to help kind of be more selective and get the better project, because not every opportunity is beneficial to you. I think we're still in a tough space where people think, oh, I'll pay for paint. And, you know, it's like, well, there's labor, there's insurance, there's the whole cost of running a business. And, you know, your $200 for paint isn't cutting it. So,
You're almost educating those clients as you go.
Definitely. And a great thing I've worked with over the years is asking for 50% payment up front once a project is agreed on, and 50% on the end. And right away, that shows you who is going to pay you, because they put their money where their mouth is. And luckily enough, I think I've never been stood up on a paycheck. So hope to keep that streak going.
That's exactly the question I was going to ask you. You know, I think you learn a lot, especially after having done it for 7 years. You've probably learned a lot of those little things along the way, like asking for half up front.
Yeah, definitely. And I found that with asking clients to send over you the material when you work over email, that kind of acts as a written contract without having to write up a real contract. So the benefits of keeping a written record through email are pretty big.
For sure. It gives you kind of that, well, you said this or I said this on this date, this time, and nice. I'm missing some questions over here. I see that Jan said, where will the tribute mural be, or is it a secret?
Um, yeah, I'll just say the Broadway neighborhood for now.
Cool.
Yeah, it's still a work in progress, and I kind of want to surprise people a bit with it. So
Sounds good. Should we watch your Facebook page? Is
yeah,
that where we'll find out? Okay.
Yep.
Or maybe in person, we'll just come across it.
Yeah. If you know where Jaws is, that's your key.
Okay. Oh, I love a good little like scavenger hunt. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're kind of at the point in your career where you're taking on projects you really love. That's very cool. How are there any like tips and tricks that have gotten you to this point? Anything that has helped you to be at that level?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think, yeah, doing it for free early on is important just to show that you're capable and you have to build a portfolio. So I'm still finding myself doing work for free all the time and just, doing it for the photo, doing it to show people I'm still active. And once you kind of build that reputation of being a productive, active artist, I think people kind of take notice. And some better jobs come from that. So as tough as it is, I think you sometimes got to work for free and give it away just to show people what you're about. So, yeah.
I think it's definitely helped you build your reputation. That's for sure.
Yeah, but it's definitely a struggle to pay the bills and keep your integrity and also paint what you want to. So
it's a hard kind of fine line to navigate for artists to figure out, well, I want to do this, I love this, but I can't pay my bills with it. But how do I strategize so that I can get to that point in my career? And
yeah, I've had like the past few years where I put in professional offers. I want a paycheck for these jobs, and just tough times, people can't afford it, and no murals get done that year. And I don't want to waste another year where murals don't get done. So I am kind of taking the opposite approach now, knocking on doors. I'll paint abandoned buildings, even if they're going to get demolished next week. I just want to paint something and get a photo.
Yep. That's a cool perspective for sure. And I think it's something that's good for people to hear, is that, sometimes you have to change your goals. 1 year might differ from another.
Definitely.
I noticed that some of your murals are popping up in other places. How are you navigating that? Are you looking for those mural opportunities outside of the area, or are they coming to you? And then how do you plan for that?
A little bit of each there, where sometimes you'll see a call for art on a regional scale and you think, oh, it's just a couple hours away, I can make it happen. I luckily enough got a tip from my father-in-law a couple years ago about a graffiti job in Iowa and made that happen. I got to be part of a pretty big art exhibit out there, and years later they kept calling me back for other projects like that Field of Dreams mural. Sometimes I'm traveling to places and painting for free again, like went up to Michigan last fall. They have a legal wall in the park, and it's just cool to paint in new places. I got to go to Miami right before the big shutdown last year. Found a wall I could paint. I'm losing money on this stuff, but it's still really cool to say I painted in Florida, I painted in Michigan, and here's the photos to prove it. So
I think that's really cool. You're kind of building your audience and making a name for yourself, and there's definitely some merit to that. I noticed this one, and I think that's a pretty familiar logo for some of us.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Yeah. How did that one come about?
Oh, yeah. I think that's another personal connection. A classmate of mine from high school was the chef up there and put in a word with the boss. And luckily enough, got to sneak up there right as they were kind of under construction in this new restaurant space. And help them have a much better grand opening, hopefully, with that art on the pizza grill.
That's very cool. Are there what other pieces should I show here? What is this? I think this is very cool. And I don't know if anybody has seen any of your work like this one.
Oh, yeah. That was a fun little project just back in college, taking a jewelry and metals course. And of course, my love for graffiti comes through, and that's my content there. So that's my favorite letter in the alphabet, the letter E.
I think it's really cool and important for people to see that, like, this is very recognizably your style to me.
Oh, yeah.
in something that is very different than what you're known for. And I think that's really cool. For everybody who's watching, we have a residency program here, and one of the benefits of the residency program is that they can take one of our classes for free in a different studio that they don't normally work in. And this is kind of the reason why, right? So you can clearly see Beau's kind of graffiti style, but that's metal, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, here's another piece from that class, a metal ring I built just out of scrap metal, but I think it's really cool and fun to get out of your comfort zone and try a new medium. So that's only going to help you back in your own home court.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I'm glad you had that right there.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, let's look at these. I think this is cool. This is probably some of your graphic design work. Let me share that screen so you can see what I'm seeing.
Oh, yeah. The Locals Only beer can a couple years ago now.
That's very cool. It looks like I see Copper State's logo on there, and I see Stillmake's logo on there.
Yeah, I think there's 7 regional breweries that collaborate on this every year. So luckily enough, I got picked by Copper State to work on their design, and you can definitely see my style coming through. And yeah, art is everywhere, and it's on the shelf of the store. So I think it's pretty cool to see your work end up in all these different places.
I think so too. I absolutely love that. I love seeing something that I'm like, oh, I know that's Beau. I know that he did that.
Thank you.
Okay, I see a question here. Can we see Zora? I don't know what that means. Do you know what that means?
Yeah, I actually just did a mural at one of the Broadway shops, Lucky 7 Dog Rescue.
Oh, yeah.
Of a, yeah, should be on my website. I don't know if
I was going to say, I have it up on your website. I saw it earlier. Let me pull it up for everybody.
Yeah, that's a pretty dramatic story of a dog who got shot and was almost about to be put down. Lucky 7 Dog Rescue got involved, and my sister ended up adopting Zora. So she's a 3-legged local now. So
that's very cool.
Maybe a 10-foot tall mural, so just a giant dog head, and yeah, hopefully leaves people with a strong impact when they walk in the space and think about dogs. And, yeah.
For sure. Can you tell everybody also what your connection? Oh, you've got another connection with Lucky 7, right? You did some work for them. I think I bought one of those mugs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How long ago was that?
Projects that they all kind of blur together. Yeah, I think that was a promotional campaign about adopting rather than buying dogs. So another free project where I just, use my talent to put it towards a good cause. And never did artwork on a mug before, but I did the free work. Now I got a cool mug in my house, and I know I did it. So
yeah, for sure. And I think that that's important too. And I think the collaboration between artists and nonprofits, like things you care about, I think that's really cool and helps you build a great reputation within the community.
Yeah, definitely. It's a really powerful tool in communicating, and think about the dark side of propaganda. How people can twist ideas, or the bright side and positivity, and promoting togetherness, and all the push forward campaigns from the past year. So art is a great tool for good or evil, but
for sure. And the more we can keep it in our local artists' hands, the better. That's the kind of thing that I love to see. So
definitely.
Well, I know we got a late start, but I also don't want to keep you here all night. So I have my last question, and the one thing I'm trying to kind of end on is any other advice you want to share with anybody? Anything else you think people who are just kind of starting out, or who are like, oh, I think I could do that? What do you have to say to them?
Yeah, I think seize the day. Finished, not flawless. Your first drawing will suck. Your first painting will suck, but do 100, it gets better. Do 1,000, it gets better. So just staying confident and producing. Don't let your ideas of something not being perfect stop you from doing it or putting it. I'd rather see 10,000 mediocre paintings than one perfect one. So I really am lately on a productivity, and I think life is short. So yeah, get busy and get making.
That's great advice. I literally just wrote down finish, not flawless. I love that phrase. I'm going to put that somewhere on my desk, I think.
That's from my friend Matt Bureau. So he helped me with that one.
That's awesome. I guess that does kind of sound like him, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then the last thing I have on here is where can people find you? So what if people want to contact you for anything, what is your preferred contact method?
Oh yeah, so I'm just a spare bedroom business right now, but I exist online. My website is tracksidedesign.com, and that's got a pretty solid portfolio, pages for paintings, graphic design, murals. I've got a store page up there too if you're interested in dropping some money and getting some color from me. But yeah, back to the website, that's kind of how the world meets and greets you, and that's your best chance to show what you do and kind of convince the world that you're worth it. So.
And I have to say, I think you have one of the most beautiful websites I've ever interacted with.
Yeah, it's just a template website from Squarespace. I think it's $200 every 2 years, so it's pretty easy to make one.
Very affordable, and there's some things that I have. So I deal with a lot of people's websites. I'm always looking at artist websites and reading for things. The one thing I absolutely love, I'll flip right over to it, is when I click this about you, I see you, right? I see you, I see your logo, I see your artwork, and then I can read about you. Like that, some artists don't even put their names on their Instagram, and I'm like, who is this person? How do I connect a face with the artwork? And so I was so happy to see that. That's one of my big do's versus don'ts on a website. Is always introduce yourself, make that human connection. People want to know who you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could be a great artist, but a poor communicator, and you'll fail. So communication almost comes first. Or you got to be a great advertiser and stay active on these social media apps. There's a lot of hats and jobs you kind of have to deal with as an artist and a solo artist. So yeah,
for sure,
you do.
Yep, it's not just about making beautiful artwork. There's a lot more that goes into it that a lot of people don't see.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, thank you so much for having me. And yeah,
this is great.
Watching and all the questions in there. Really
for sure. Thanks for dealing with the troubleshooting. I appreciate it.
So,
Have a good rest of your night.
You too. Good night.
Bye.